Afternoon, folks. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel, and I have several great clips I wanted to bring to y'all today. Most of them revolve around two things. First one being this attempted shooter, and the fact that we now have bomb threats at Trump rallies as well that are being played off by city officials. I won't get into that until we know a little bit more about that. I will probably find out quite a bit about that later on today. But it's out. The information is starting to dribble out about that. But more than that, I want to discuss the rhetoric that causes people like Thomas Crooks and this Ryan attempted second shooter guy. I don't even want to say these guys' names. I don't want to even put their name out there anymore. I don't like the words coming out of my mouth. But I do want to say that it's absolutely necessary to slow down this rhetoric. And like one of these commentators said over here on Fox News, it's too late for Trump. There's already people that will always hate him because they believe they're brainwashed over all this length of time, 6, 7, 8 years, to believe that Trump is the epitome, is Hitler 2.0 or something. And if you tell people that long enough, some people are going to believe it, and then there is no getting them not to believe it because you've already trained them to believe it for years. And I thought that was a pretty honest statement. It's too late for Trump. Trump and his whole family probably need Secret Service protection for the rest of their life, including his grandchildren. And it's just ridiculous the state of our country's got into behind the mouthiness of the mainstream media and the politicians that go hand in hand with the mainstream media that just placates the racism, placates the violence, and everything that is wrong with this country. And I'm sick of it. But I do want to bring it to y'all in kind of a light that I'm seeing it in as well, from a couple of different perspectives. And we'll get into that. And then I've got, like I said, one long, about a 6-minute video of a guy that put together a lot of interesting information involving this guy, CIA, possibility of this guy being part of the CIA, this attempted second shooter. All right, folks, let's get into this. I'll try to keep these clips as short as I can. But there's several things here I wanted everybody to hear. Time to share it out. Now, we got Ron DeSantis here. He's making his first public remarks since we've heard about all this stuff happening, the second shooter. And at this point, we haven't even heard about the bomb threat. So I don't believe at this point. But we'll get into that as well. But more on tomorrow's video, I don't really want to get into that today because I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you. And there's more speculation than anything. So I'm going to wait on that one. But let's go ahead and get into several great, interesting takes on what needs to be done in this country, what's being done, and just the how the rhetoric is spun out of control. Here we go.
My running mate was nearly assassinated for the second time yesterday. And President Trump, I was actually sitting at home in Cincinnati with my 7-year-old, and I get a phone call, and it says Donald J. Trump. So I answer it, and he says, JD, you're not going to believe this, but they tried to do it again. And I said, no, they didn't. You're joshing me. What's going on here, sir? And he says, no, I was playing golf, and the Secret Service found somebody who was trying to shoot me. And I say, oh, my Lord, sir, I'm so glad you're okay. I mean, are you doing okay? Are you not just physically okay, but everything's fine? He said, yeah, I'm doing fine. And this is just who Donald Trump is. He said, I'm a little mad because I was about to make a birdie putt on the 6th hole, and they wouldn't let me finish. And the guy's literally like, this happened, I mean, he calls me right after, this is 10 minutes after, and he's pissed off that they won't let him finish his birdie putt, right after they found a guy with an AK-47. But by the way, that is kind of the guy that you want to be president of the United States, right? Who's fazed by nothing, who's telling jokes afterwards.
That's right. Absolutely.
I think I was, without a question, bothered by it more than he was, and I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, 100 miles away from where this went down. But I do think that we should take this opportunity to call for a reduction in the ridiculous and inflammatory political rhetoric coming from too many corners of our politics.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm glad he said that. I think it's too late for some people. I think some people are going to continue to be keyboard warriors and just assholes in general, and it shows, especially with everybody communicating these days with their cell phones and their podcasts and their channels and their comments, and it's all out there for public knowledge, and it's also all out there for other people to argue back with you about it, expose you for saying it. If you're out there fomenting the fact that Trump should have got shot, you think that's a great answer. Uh, I would hope that you'd be put on a list of people that probably need to be more than censored. I believe in free speech wholeheartedly, but I don't believe that the threat of physical violence, like you can't scream fire in a crowded theater. There's just some things you can't do, and you can't threaten people's life. And it's really we've seen what happened to Jack Black and so many others just for wishing bad things on Donald Trump. You shouldn't. If you're a decent human being, you shouldn't wish bad things on anybody. I don't wish bad things on the Democrats. I hope they get their just due. And if that turns out to be a bad thing because they were criminals, so be it. But if they're just normal crazy people, stay in their lane. I don't wish bad things on them. I wish they'd get out of our politics and stop trying to destroy our country. But I won't get into that anymore. But any further than that, got way too many opinions. But this here is a little bit of Fox News. A lot of my listeners probably are not big fans of Fox News, but sometimes they do get some of the better takes and get some great interviews as well. And I heard a rumor that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be a correspondent for Fox. Can anybody else corroborate that in the comment section? Is that just a rumor on Twitter? I don't know. Here we go. This is about the rhetoric, folks. This is what we're talking about today.
How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Watch the shitty answer.
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it. And now for you to make that kind of comment in your question, because your question involved a comment and a statement. And, it is, that is also incredibly dangerous. But when you start bringing political rhetoric, that is not okay.
There are mentally unstable people who are attempting to kill political candidates, attempting to kill Donald Trump, and they are still hearing this White House refer to him as a threat. Is there no concern that people are taking that literally?
We're using examples. We're not just saying that just to say it. January 6th, Peter. January 6th. Wait, January 6th.
3 times?
How many times do we have to? January 6th, 2021.
Wow.
That is a fact. I know your focus has to.
So it's okay to call Trump Hitler and a threat to democracy and all these things because January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. So she's saying we need to calm down the rhetoric that Trump causes. But since Trump really is a threat because of January 6th, it's okay. The real threat is Peter Doocy's question. Wow.
To be on this side of the house. It can't be on your side of the house. I get that. But we also have to be careful on how you're asking me these questions.
So the press is in trouble for asking questions. It's highly dangerous for Peter Doocy to ask questions.
Wow.
Putting aside the ethics here, it's fine if she wants to engage in political rhetoric. Just go do it at the campaign and don't use your White House title and don't stand behind that White House podium. This is 48 hours after the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And all of a sudden the rules go out the window. You're going to double down on this rhetoric? 48 hours.
Well, it's really, really, really unfortunate that she could not see that question coming. I mean, a child could have told you that after a former president was nearly killed a second time, you might want to be ready for the question of how many times does it take before you make sure that you've got the protection around him per the White House that looks like a president currently, because that's what it's going to take. You'd think she'd be ready for that. I immediately got on X and said, there's never a hatchack around when you need one.
Yeah, we've heard her say that word many times.
Because that's the lane she was dangerously weaving and bobbing and going into, and that's where she didn't want to go, but she couldn't help herself because the answer to the question was she doesn't want to stop saying he's not a threat.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to stop saying he's a threat, rather. Because that's how Democrats see it, a threat to democracy. It's their talking point. And they haven't thought it through. Well, could that be part of the problem of why he's in danger? If they have thought it through, then they're complicit. And if they haven't, they're really naive. So Peter calls her out on it. She's upset, calls him dangerous for the question. I call her dangerous for the answer. Stop calling Donald Trump a threat. I mean, people have tried to kill him more than once now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's dangerous for Peter to ask a question of the federal government. You can't do that. It's also dangerous for J.D. Vance to question the media. Let's watch this from Dana Bash.
They were trying to grow the economy in Springfield, which had been decimated in the 70s and 80s, and they didn't have workers to help do that. Now they do. Questions about integrating in schools and with language and taking driver's tests, changing the laws. Those are really legitimate questions. Eating dogs and cats, that is steeped in racist tropes. You've been talking about the fact that there have been, I think today again, there are colleges there that are closed, schools that are closed, hospitals that had bomb threats. And look, it is dangerous. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
You know, for those who didn't see.
You see the rhetoric here going on, folks. You get the gist of this. Now, a lot of people probably thought Trump was crazy for mentioning they're eating the dogs and the cats, but it's turned into a meme. It's turned into songs, parodies. It's got people talking about it. It's got every citizen in this country knowing that there's two stories. One, they're eating the dogs and the cats, and one, no, the news says it's not happening, never happened, couldn't happen, wouldn't happen. Well, I only have one opinion about that. When you bring in hunter-gatherers from a country like Haiti, what do you expect them to do? They're going to eat your cats. Just my opinion, folks. When they get hungry, they're going to find something to eat. I'm sure the ducks at the park were easy pickings. Hate to say that, but now, as crazy as it was that Trump said that at the debate caused a lot of backlash. And I've got a preacher here that explains a little bit about the whole dogs and the cats thing in such a way that really sums it up. Let's see here. First, let me show you this here. Make sure my screen is in the center. Close enough. All right, here we go. It says, breaking Trump supporters across the country have announced a boycott against ABC following the presidential debate. After they ambushed Trump, they have lost, I seen it this morning, 12% of their viewership. That's a lot, folks. That's a huge number. My wife said she'll never watch it again. She goes over there for the weather and has watched David Muir in the past because he's not actually been too political. He does like the local 5 o'clock or the world news at 5 or 5:30. My wife has watched it many a times. I've actually watched it myself. Can't stand the Stephanopoulos in the morning. He's sickening. But we both decided we are done with ABC, just like 12% of the people that watched that debate. And I'm just glad to see it. Now, here is a clip of ABC News at the Trump rally. Check out how this one goes.
Fuck you, ABC, you fucking Nazis, you little fucking brown shirt. Fuck you. You are losing my fucking president.
See these guys right here in the black? All these guys right here walking away. They literally run ABC off. They tell them, get your ass out of here. Get your cameras and your little news reporter. Get it out of here. We're over here having a Trump get together. We don't need you here. You're a bunch of liars. We hate you. That's I won't use the word hate. That's a bad word. But it's getting pretty frustrating to think that ABC has the right to show up and spin a story at a Trump rally. They might as well not even show up. Just because of the fact they're not going to do any justice to Trump, for Trump or the MAGA party when it comes to their rhetoric. and they're a huge part of the problem as well. ABC, I blame them for a lot of the violent attacks on a lot of these politicians, including Trump, just because they're haters. It's just a fact, folks. Now, as crazy as the dogs and the cats are being eaten and the ducks, this pastor realized just how important it was for Trump to say that during that presidential debate. Let's listen to this. This thing's a little bit long, but this guy is really telling it like it is.
I know they're going to try to crucify me out there. Just got to get ready for the cross. But the Bible said if you live and preach godly, you will suffer persecution. When I saw the debate the other night, and I heard what President Trump talked about eating cats and dogs, I thought he had gotten senile. But there are things that people don't know and understand that he was strategically trying to put out. The illegal immigration policies that are going on in this nation is getting ready to reshape America like never before.
That's right.
And y'all don't see it because you got a corrupt media that won't tell you the truth. They are bringing millions of people into this country, and they are shipping them around to different cities all over the United States, and the media won't tell you nothing. It sounded crazy, but it's true. Yes, it's true. Because people don't understand voodoo culture. Haitians come out of Haiti, which is a strong voodoo culture. And the reason it's going to be a problem, see, they got you thinking race. He just hate them black folk. No, it's about culture. Even the Venezuelan gangs are bringing their culture to our nation, and they are taking over cities right now, and the police can't do nothing with them. So every time anything come up about anything black folk, we always accuse it to be about race. No, it's culture. Voodoo culture requires sacrifice. In other words, bring me an animal, and that represents you, and I want you to lay it on the altar and give it to me as a sacrifice. But in voodoo, you eat the animals that you bring to the sacrifice. This is what the media ain't gonna tell you. I got a Haitian pastor because we helped to build a church over in Haiti, and he has enlightened me on different cultures. Yes, they get those animals because they need them for sacrifice. They kill the animals, and then they are taught that if you eat the animal, you will get more power inside of you. And so they eat the animals, and demons are the ones that come on the inside. I'm preaching up in here today. I'm preaching up here. They don't tell you that in the media because they're trying to hide it. They don't want you to see it because they don't want the people to become alert to what's happening, where they're spreading these people all over the country. Springfield, Ohio ain't got but 67,000 people, but they brought in 15,000 migrants from Haiti that will change the culture in that city. They are getting people's pets and killing them for their own sacrifice because that was the culture in Haiti. It is true.
There it is, folks.
And he was smart enough to put it out because he knew it would make people start going to talk about it and start looking. So whether or not you hate him or not, it's the truth.
Whether you hate Trump or not, it's the truth. And he helped, Trump exposed it. Sounded crazy for a minute to those that don't believe. I'm sure there's a lot of lefties out there today that are going, they don't really eat cats and ducks and chickens and stuff in Haiti. They don't really sacrifice animals. They don't really associate voodoo with animal sacrifice. with Haitians. See, that's the part of the story that's not being told on too many places. I do find it over here on Twitter. There's quite a bit of it about stories about the Haitians. Um, it's not even about picking on a nationality of people. It's about the way that they were raised. It's part of their culture. Half of Haiti is into satanic worship and voodoo. Half, more than half, attest to that religion there, if you want to call it that. And you bring in how many thousands, hundreds of thousands to America? They're not going to change who they are when they get here. That's the facts, folks. Now, I've got a couple more great clips here for you today, folks. Now, this here is something I've said to my wife for a couple of weeks now. I said there's a mole in the Secret Service or their communication devices are compromised. There's something going
Point
on.
number two is this: the president.
There's something going on that Trump has no privacy when it comes to his whereabouts because the Secret Service and maybe the communication between the Secret Service or maybe one of the communications bedfellows or being honeypotted. It may be another agency has got Mar-a-Lago tapped when they come there to do the raid. They may have put some bugs everywhere. Who knows? Maybe Trump needs to resweep his place, not just for bombs, but for better people, communication, uh, possible communication breakdown, or espionage, where maybe another three-letter agency is wiretapping the Secret Service. There's something going on for someone to know, for this guy to know to be in the bushes for 12 hours because Trump will be golfing tomorrow. The chances of that, I believe Trump probably maybe suggested it, mentioned it, or had a regular schedule of doing it. There has to be an answer as to why this guy knew Trump was going to be there. And the obvious answer is somebody spying in Trump's inner circle or somebody spying on Trump's inner circle. And that comes down to possibly a mole. And this is what Eli Crane says about it over here on the Benny Show.
Point number two is this: the president. My advice to the president is to bolster your private security around you, not only to fill holes in the gaps that the Secret Service continues to leave open, but also to watch the watchers. There is a very real possibility at this point that there is a mole within the Secret Service team surrounding the president or at the highest levels of the Secret Service. And so he does need somebody, a group of individuals around him that are loyal to him and are not politicized. They're not worried about seeking promotion. And they don't answer to people that hate the president. And so, that would be my advice to the president at this point. Point number two is this: the president.
I've been saying this for a long time. Trump's got somebody on the inside giving up his whereabouts, giving up his details that he doesn't need divulged, especially if he decides to make last minute decisions and then a shooter just happens to know to be there last minute. Just shit like that cannot be allowed to happen. And to Eli Crane's point, I think it is absolutely paramount that Trump hire his own personal security. He needs to get somebody like Dan Bongino to call on some of his real Trump supporting Secret Service buddies and have them put on the detail. And then, if that's possible, and then if probably not through the Biden administration, but Trump definitely needs his own private security force, maybe to police the Secret Service's activity, because the Secret Services are doing their job, but they're not getting an A+ from me this year. No doubt about it. Trump's been shot and almost shot at twice in 2 months, and the security's still not good enough. I would say hire another team. That's all I could say. Secret Service, I don't trust you anymore. You may have some good men, some good loyal people there that try to protect Trump, but I'm sure there's always one or two that is not on Team Trump. And we can't have partisan hacks doing a half-assed job at protecting the man that's going to save this country. Got to make it 2 more months, Trump. I would be spending too much time out there in the outdoors. Now, this is something that's been bothering me for a couple of days. Mike Johnson is pushing for the SAVE Act. and it has already been pushed to the House. So they're going to push it to the Senate. And when they do that, the Senate will take the SAVE Act out of the bill, and they'll pass this CR, this continuous spending uh, of the reduction of this debt package. So they're going to kick the ball down the curb for another 3 months with the spending package on it, or they're going to spend way too much money, $1 trillion or more, to fix the budget, to catch up on the budget, and they'll get right down to the last of it in the Senate, and they'll go, "We're all on board except for the SAVE Act. It can't be in there. We don't want to protect our elections." And by then, it'll be too late for Mike Johnson to be doing anything about it. It'll be over in the Senate, and we'll get 50 Democrats that will vote for this, and there will still be a handful of rhinos that will push this through. And so they'll get their $1 trillion package by Christmas, and the SAVE Act won't be in there. That's just the way it goes. That's what I believe, what I've seen. It's the only way Mike Johnson knows how to act. I don't even think they should have brought this up. I'd have just said fuck them till January on the continuing resolution. That's just my opinion. But here's Trump made a statement. Says the Republicans don't get the SAVE Act, which is about our elections, and every ounce of it, they should not agree to a continuing resolution in any way, shape, or form. Democrats are registering illegal voters by the tens of thousands as we speak, and they will be voting in 2024 presidential election. They shouldn't be allowed to. Only American citizens should be voting in our most important election in history, or any election. A vote must happen before the election, not after the election, when it's too late. Be smart, Republicans. You've been pushed around long enough by the Democrats. Don't let it happen again. Remember, this is Biden Harris's fault. Yeah, if the Republicans agree to this deal with the SAVE Act in it, and the Democrats agree to it, the one caveat will be it won't apply to this election. Fuck that. That's what they're going to do to us, folks. I've seen it too many times. I have no faith in little weasel Mike Johnson. He is worse than Kevin McCarthy, I must say, at this point. I thought Kevin McCarthy was a rhino, which he is. Mike Johnson's worse. He's so weak. He's a Democrat, as far as I'm concerned. Now I'm gonna play this last video clip here for you. It's pretty long. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long. But this here is this guy's information and speculation on everything we know so far about the attempted shooter. All right, let me scroll this up. Put it a little bigger on screen for you folks. Now this is crazy. Here we go. This is about as bonkers as anything I've seen, but I believe this guy's on the right track.
The internet was wise and archived. So the new Trump assassin just dropped, and there's some spicy details already. Ryan Routh, very strange guy who's lived a very strange life. And this time, the internet was wise and archived all of his socials as much as possible before the FBI took it all down. So here's some basics on what we know about him, and one really interesting rabbit hole about who he might be. Right off the bat, though, it's super early. This is all speculative. Take your time, pump the brakes. We're just digging through dirty laundry. We don't know what sticks yet. But this guy is a private American citizen who traveled to Ukraine on his own dime, to help recruit civilian soldiers to fight for Ukraine and Afghan special forces. He was like recruiting on his Facebook page. Here's an archive of all of his tweets that look pretty damn automated to me. They pretty much all look like this. In a past life in Hawaii, he apparently ran this company that made a single tiny home and a single Facebook page and never did anything else with it. Super weird. But I grabbed everyone that he followed on Twitter before they deleted it. He only followed 60. And right down at the bottom of that list, which I think indicates his first follow, is this girl named Sue Kim, who is ex-CIA, along with some other very interesting things. Now again, reminder, this is just speculation, digging through Twitter dirt. Maybe this chick is just a wonderful, patriotic person that's helping America. Who knows? But her account is private, meaning why does he follow her? I've been digging around, and one of my followers said that they found her in the people that follow him back. I have not been able to confirm that for myself because they took the account down. If you've got a video of the 1.2 thousand followers that followed him, that would be great to know. He says that she was at the bottom of his followed list.
So you are catching this, folks. this guy has got a lot of the information that was screenshotted of all these people that were followed by the suspected shooter or the attempted assassin. And one of them, Miss Kim Sue, seems to be a CIA agent. And it just gets weirder from here, folks. I've seen this video a couple of times. I actually watched it twice just to absorb all the information. You may want to do the same. There is some speculation in here because we only know what we can see and determine from just chasing these tweets around and who he followed, doing the real investigative homework. Like I said, I've seen this video a couple of times, folks, but I'll leave it with you. Hope everybody liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video out. Definitely been an interesting week, folks. We never get a break with the news cycle these days. It's one thing after another. If they're not trying to kill Trump, they're trying to get somebody to spread more threats about the threat to democracy, Trump. All right, folks, here we go. Everybody have a great one.
Meaning that she followed him right when he made the account. That would make sense, seeing as she's at the bottom of his following list of who he follows too. I mean, every asset needs a handler. And when you go through some of these other affiliations here, you get what is essentially the CIA training grounds at Johns Hopkins University. It explores the relationship between politics and the many kinds of military power, from the use of terror by small non-state groups to the threatened use of nuclear weapons. Its director is John McLaughlin, who is literally an ex-acting director of the CIA and ex-deputy director of the CIA, 3-decade career at the CIA. David is third on the list of people at the top of this institution at the university. 30-year career in Army Special Forces, various special operations, invading various countries, as well as Operation Enduring Freedom. You get the idea. Anyways, Rand Corporation. That's a military-industrial complex think tank, kind of like the Atlantic Council. And LMI org, yeah, that's like a military-industrial complex education and training program as well. Preliminary findings on the internet when you search our homeboy, the shooter, show his arrest record, including in 2002, possession of weapons of mass destruction, Class F felony, along with 3 other blocks of things like possession of handguns or concealed weapons and driver's license stuff. And yeah, that sounds like some operative shit to me. But again, we don't know any of this yet. We're just digging through dirty laundry on the internet. It's hard to tell what's real. But this is a photo of the weapon he used and the setup he had. People are speculating it looks an awful lot like, you know, Russian-Ukrainian class of rifle. He's doing these weird recruitment ops in Ukraine for civilians. Well, he's like posting on his Facebook all the time to like no followers about how he's recruiting hundreds of civilians to fight for Ukraine. Like, posting for like Afghan special forces to contact him so they can come fight in Ukraine. But he's like just a random citizen from Hawaii. And one of the 60 people he follows is this CIA gal that allegedly follows him back. That looks an awful lot like a handler or a contact. His account looks an awful lot like a bot or an MK Ultra or a Pato. Who knows what the hell this is? His criminal record looks an awful lot like what you might expect a kind of guy in this kind of line of work to leave behind. And then there's the weird video evidence getting turned up.
Officials in Kyiv simply aren't interested in recruiting them.
Ukraine is reluctant to be cooperative.
That's Ryan Ruth, a U.S. citizen who set up the International Volunteer Center in Ukraine to help connect foreigners to Ukrainian military units.
Now I'm talking to over 100 soldiers every day, and pretty much everybody, all of my contacts in Ukraine, they were adamant, pretty much yelled at me every time that I suggested that we bring in Afghans.
The Ukrainian government didn't respond to our request for comment. But a source close to the officials in Kyiv told Semaphore that their top concern is the question of loyalty in the thick fog of war.
The biggest thing is spies. They're afraid that anybody and everybody is a Russian spy.
Shout out to some bitch I know on X, who currently has one of the best archives of all of his socials and accounts. There's a lot of other people doing good work right now. And again, I just want to clarify. I'm not trying to pretend like I've solved the case or like we know what's going on. We just have learned by now that the FBI is going to just cover everything up. And so it's up to us to try to dig everything out before they do. So that's what we're doing. And yes, it's ridiculous that that is even a set of sentences we have to say in America in 2024 when someone tries to kill the former and future president of the United States of America. And I mean, I can only imagine who might be backing up these operations to try to shoot him and who might be providing the intel and the access and the cover-ups, etc. So last thing I'll say, Ryan Routh, he's currently in custody. He was driving away in an SUV. They caught him. He's alive for now. And I just want to remind us all, Ryan Routh did not kill himself. If cameras malfunction outside of his cell, if he has a weird slipping accident, whatever happens, yeah, you know the story. 50 more days, my money's on at least one more attempt before we get there. So stay frosty, because the war machine desperately needs the wars to escalate, and they're not down with the MAGA Maha folks shutting down the wars. And they are ready to kill people, ready to assassinate.